Alright, I don't have much battery for this, but this is how unbelievably humid it is out here. This is the non-air conditioned side, and this is the air conditioned side. Or no, that's the non-air conditioned side. This is, or what the hell am I talking about? There's a fan in the window out here. This is the non-air conditioned area. That's the inner part of the house where there's air conditioning. This is not running, but it was last night because the central was doing some weird stuff. I'm gonna tell you guys all about that in a second. But first, let's just go outside and take a look at the units. It is unbelievably hot out here. It's already 85. The Lasco, whatever mod B, it was like B something. It's basically a 3733. Help to move the air. I'd rather have that room have negative pressure so it's not pushing the warm air into the house. Yeah, the temper. Jeez, my back. Excuse that, my back has been killing me lately. I pulled a muscle in my back. So if you hear me do that, it's just that. Anyways, the heat has been absolutely crazy, and every time I think the heat has finally ended, it just hasn't. This is like this has been like the second week. We're going into like the third week of the heat. Or like this is about to be the second week of the big heat. And the thermometers inside don't lie. They're down here out of the sun completely. I was gonna mow the grass back here, but it's too damn hot. Mowed the rest of the grass. And the central sounds pretty good. It's more leveled than it was last year. Let's just kind of listen to it for a minute. Yeah, funny stuff's been happening with that thing. So basically, I'll find myself a seat on the deck and I'll just kind of commentate a bit. But yeah, it's been going up it was up in the high 90s last week. It hasn't quite hit the same again, but it has been going up into the low 90s consistently. Shut off. And yeah, it needs a drain hole, I know. There, there's my socks from yesterday. Get out of here. I'm gonna sear on this here while I tell y'all. So yeah, this has been pretty brutal. You know, like I said, it's been consistently low to high 90s out here. I think one day it even got up to 100. Air conditioners have been actually surprisingly kicking ass, especially the central, which is the most surprising. The central has been doing some weird shit, and what probably caused it is interesting. So, oh god, that sun! I feel like I'm getting a tan out here. Or sunburn, really. So within the first couple of weeks of running the central, it was making this loud vibrating noise, like towards the cooler parts of the day. We were never able to figure out why, but it was basically unusable because it was so loud and probably very damaging. So we turned it off, had the Amana installed in the living room to at least keep the first floor cooled off, and of course the second floor is good with the Kenmore because it's a pretty powerful machine. But one thing I had noticed is that the sound would go away if I push up on the refrigerant line. Of course, I'm not pushing it at like huge amounts, just like putting a little bit of pressure on it, and it would go away. And I'm like, huh, that's kind of interesting. And you know, it didn't go back for a while. I was just like, something up with the evaporator coil. But today I was going around, like, you know, checking the airflow, because at one point I was icing up a bit, but it's because of, I think that was more because of some terrible hack job that I'm not even going to discuss on here, because y'all will flame me anyways, which honestly is valid, but again, I'm not going into that. It hasn't been doing that. It hasn't been doing the icing up anyways since then. So anyways, I was going around, you know, checking the airflow and whatnot. I was like, it's good. Then I went into one of the rooms upstairs, the other room upstairs, and the return vent had like 0 airflow, which is weird for that room. The return vent for that room always had airflow. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I was like, well, so I went into the other rooms. I closed off the returns for those. I was like, well, if I shut those returns, it'll force the air to go through that vent. I did that. It's still nothing. I'm like, oh, that's really weird. That shouldn't be like that. And I go in the basement, and I go to look for it. The dang ductwork just is falling off. And I would never have noticed it because it's way in the back. It's way in this back corner that you would otherwise never go into, other than to reset a breaker. In fact, I'm gonna go show you all this right now. Ow, I'm burning my feet on this deck. Go. What's it showing out here? 82. So this is the return side. Okay. Come back here, turn this light on. This is the duct in question. It goes up into this corner here. And you can see it's just barely even on there right now. What I think happened, see, we just got a new water heater. What the fuck? This plug is all weird. Stay in. And the gas line is this right here. And it's sitting directly on top of this. Can you see on top of this duct? Can you see where this is going? I think while they were installing the new water heater, they knocked it loose and we never noticed. Now, what is that gonna have to do with the weird noise this thing is making? Notice that it's the gas line is also sitting on top of the refrigerant line. And remember, I said that the sound would go away when you push up on it. Well, if it was down, it was pushing down even more on the refrigerant line. Now, I haven't heard if this was the fix yet, but I imagine that's probably fixed it, and that was probably the cause of why it was making that awful noise. All because of a water heater replacement. Just absolutely unbelievable turn of events. And now I need to get new foil tape for that because it's not quite in there right. It's in there, but it's not quite. I don't know where this PVC pipe was supposed to go initially. I know that's where it goes, but I don't know what it would have been for. Perhaps an old furnace that used to be over here. But as we know, shut the light off. As we know, the new furnace pipe is much bigger. And it goes up and over. see it. Doesn't matter. So, I'm gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be an interesting thing later. Now, something that also needs to be dealt with is this. It needs to be resealed, but look at all that condensation on there. It is so humid today. I'll take a picture of that. Alright, that's it. See ya.